The speech teacher James Winans famously said, "A speech is not an essay on its hind legs." And that's very true. And we've already somewhat covered this, but by now it should be evident that speaking and writing are different. At a very deep level, they are different. So writing is a visual event, or tactile in the case of Braille, right? You see writing. That's how you're perceiving it. That's how your brain is receiving the information. It's visual. Now, in speaking, it's an oral event. It comes out here, goes in here. And so we're dealing with mouths and ears, not eyes, in speech. And so in this lecture, I kind of want to just talk at a very broad level about some of the differences between speaking and writing. So to begin with, fundamentally, speaking is acquired. Writing is learned, right? You did not emerge from the womb with the ability to write. You didn't come out of the womb pen in hand. Childbirth would be even worse if this were the case. But we as human beings have the ability to speak. I've got kids. And right now, my oldest he's writing. We're working on him, helping him craft his letters. We have to teach him how to write. We did not teach him how to speak. Now, we may model it, we may correct it, but as a human being, he is going to speak. As a bird is going to fly, that child is going to speak, apart from some extreme cases of, some biological problems. But he is going to speak. He's got the capacity for speech. And we see this, you can look at linguists like Steven Pinker and the language instinct. They talk about how over years of evolution, we have developed language. It is biological. We are going to communicate, and spoken language is one of the chief ways that we're going to do that. That explains illiteracy, right? Writing has to be learned. There are lots of places where people just they haven't gotten that yet. They don't know writing. But we don't have that sort of widespread lack of speech ability. It is what we are as humans. Birds fly, humans speak. Okay? So writing is learned. Writing emerged later, right? Writing is a human invention. There was a time before writing. There might well be a time after writing. Some would argue online education is hastening that. So kudos to us for bringing about oblivion. But we know writing systems first emerged in Sumer probably about 6,000 years ago. But this writing thing is a creation. It's not something that was biologically guaranteed. As a consequence of this, writing is not ubiquitous. So there are probably about 7,000 languages in existence today. Over half of those 7,000 languages are unwritten. There are all sorts of writing systems that have no way of engaging in writing. There's all sorts of communication language systems that have no writing. So these are deep issues. And some of these historical changes are taken up in the seminal work by Walter Ong in his Orality and Literacy. And what he looks at, and it's really interesting, is how cultures change as they move from primarily oral to sort of a mixed oral and written mode of communication. Now, Ong, as a thinker, was influenced by the famous media critic Marshall McLuhan, who famously said, "The medium is the message." Very true. When we stand up to present in front of an audience, the medium is speech. The medium is speech. And that is a fundamental, important thing to understand when it comes to preparing speeches and delivering speeches. A speech is not an essay on its hind legs. It's not merely reading at the audience. So in the next lecture, we're going to do an experiment to see how these differences in media manifest, how we can hear writing when performed orally, and how we hear orality as it exists when spoken naturally.